What if I told you that Muhammad Ali deliberately lost rounds in a fight, not because he was tired, not because he was outmatched, but because 3 weeks earlier, in a hospital room in London, he made a promise to a dying 9-year-old boy that would cost him everything. This is the story that only 14 people knew about, a story buried in Swiss boxing archives, a story that reveals Ali's most profound sacrifice. Zurich, Switzerland, March 14th, 1972. 12,000 spectators packed the Hallenstadion arena, their breath visible in the cold March air. They had paid premium prices, some traveling from Germany, France, and Italy, to watch Muhammad Ali destroy Jürgen Blin, an unknown German heavyweight with a respectable record, but no real chance of survival. This was supposed to be easy, a formality. Ali was the former champion fighting his way back after losing 3.5 years of his absolute prime to the United States government's vendetta for refusing the Vietnam War draft. Blin was a journeyman, a stepping stone. Bookmakers had Ali winning by knockout before round 7. Sports pages across Europe called it a tune-up fight, a warm-up before Ali's inevitable march back to reclaiming his stolen throne. But from the opening bell, something was catastrophically wrong. Ali moved like he was underwater. His legendary footwork, that impossible gravity-defying dance that had revolutionized heavyweight boxing, looked sluggish, hesitant, off-rhythm. His jab, the weapon that had destroyed Sonny Liston and dismantled Floyd Patterson, kept missing by inches. Not because Blin was skilled enough to avoid it, but because Ali seemed to be aiming just slightly off-center, as if his depth perception had mysteriously failed him. In round 2, Blin landed an overhand right that caught Ali clean on the left temple. The sound echoed through the arena like a gunshot. Ali's head snapped violently to the side. The crowd gasped in collective shock. Ringside reporters, men who had covered hundreds of Ali fights, looked at each other with confusion and alarm written across their faces. That punch should never have landed. Angelo Dundee screamed from the corner, his voice raw with panic. "What are you doing? Move! Move!" Ali stared past him, expression distant, almost meditative, like a man in prayer. By round 4, the pattern was undeniable and deeply disturbing. Muhammad Ali was fighting at 60% capacity, taking punches, solid, respectable punches, that he could easily avoid. Clinching when he should be dancing, standing flat-footed when he should be floating like a butterfly, absorbing punishment when he should be delivering it with surgical precision. German reporters began whispering about an upset, frantically rewriting their prepared victory articles. Swiss officials watched nervously from their elevated seats, wondering if they were witnessing boxing history, the wrong kind. Between rounds, Dundee grabbed Ali's face with both hands, forcing eye contact. "Are you hurt? What's going on? Talk to me." Ali didn't answer, just nodded slowly, confirming something only he understood, and stood for the next round. But nobody in that arena knew what had happened 21 days earlier. February 23rd, 1972. Great Ormond Street Hospital, London. Muhammad Ali walked through sterile corridors alone. No cameras, no reporters, no entourage. His team waited in the lobby as instructed. This visit was private, sacred, personal in a way that few things in Muhammad Ali's relentlessly public life ever were. 6 days earlier, Ali received a handwritten letter from nurse Margaret Whitmore. 3 pages. Careful handwriting that betrayed emotional weight behind every word. She told the story of Thomas Abernathy, a 9-year-old boy with terminal leukemia. Stage 4. The oncologists had given him 4 to 6 weeks left, perhaps 8 if he fought with everything he had. Thomas's hospital room was covered wall to wall with Ali clippings. Every article, every photo, every headline from every victory and controversy. He would shadow box in bed, thin arms throwing imaginary combinations, whispering, "I am the greatest," through his oxygen mask. Margaret's letter was simple and devastating. "Mr. Ali, this child doesn't have much time left. He talks about you constantly. He believes you're the strongest person who ever lived. Could you possibly spare 10 or 15 minutes to visit him? I know you're busy. I know this is an enormous request, but it would mean the world to a little boy who doesn't have many worlds left." Muhammad Ali read that letter 3 times. Then he picked up the telephone, called his secretary, and said, "Cancel everything tomorrow. Everything. I don't care what it is. I'm going to London." When Ali entered Thomas's room at 2:47 p.m., the boy was sleeping, so small beneath white sheets that Ali initially thought the room was empty. The medical equipment surrounding the bed, ventilators, IV drips, monitoring machines with glowing green lines, tracking every weakening heartbeat, seemed to dwarf the child. They were struggling to keep alive. Thomas's skin had a translucent, almost ethereal quality. His breathing was shallow and irregular. He weighed 47 pounds. Muhammad Ali sat in the plastic chair beside the bed and waited. He didn't wake the boy. He didn't announce himself. He just sat there, this global icon, this larger-than-life personality, and waited patiently in complete silence. 20 minutes later, Thomas woke slowly. His eyes opened gradually, adjusting to the fluorescent light. Then they focused on the figure sitting beside his bed. For a moment, there was only confusion, then recognition, then absolute, overwhelming disbelief. "You're real," Thomas whispered, his voice barely audible. "I thought you were a dream." "I'm real, champ," Ali smiled, leaning forward. "Just as real as you are." They talked for 3 hours and 40 minutes. Ali showed Thomas how to throw a jab, moving his skeletal arm with infinite gentleness, guiding it through the motion like a master teaching his apprentice. He told stories about the Fifth Street Gym in Miami, about brutally hot mornings and the smell of sweat and leather that never left your skin. He described facing Liston, the way fear and courage mix together in your stomach before the first bell. He did magic tricks badly, making Thomas laugh until nurses rushed in to check his vitals. Eleanor Abernathy stood in the doorway, crying, watching the world's most famous athlete treat her dying son like he was the most important person alive. Then Thomas asked the question that changed everything. "Will you fight for me?" Ali didn't understand. "I fight for everybody, champ." "No," Thomas insisted, grabbing Ali's hand. "Fight my fight, not your fight, my fight, the way I can't fight anymore." "Tell me what you mean." Thomas's words came in short bursts between breaths. He was tired of everyone being gentle, tired of doctors lying about improvement, tired of parents crying in hallways, tired of being treated like he was already gone. "When you fight," Thomas said, eyes locked on Ali's face with impossible intensity, "you fight the way I wish I could. You take the punches. You don't give up. You stand back up. You show everyone that pain doesn't mean you're finished." Tears rolled down his hollow cheeks. "In my next fight, the one I'm losing, I want to know someone is fighting my real fight, taking the hits, not making it look easy, not dancing away, showing people what it really means to fight when you're hurt, when it's hard, when every part of you wants to quit, but you keep going. Muhammad Ali, who had faced Liston's fury, defied the U.S. government, sacrificed his championship, felt tears burning his eyes. "Promise me," Thomas whispered, grip tightening. "Promise you won't make your next fight look easy. Promise you'll take the punches, show them what it means to really fight. Show them that getting hit doesn't mean you lose." Ali looked at this dying boy and made a promise that would cost him his mystique. "I promise, champ," Ali said, voice thick with emotion. "I'll fight your fight. I'll show them what it means to stand up when you're hurt. I'll take the punches. I won't make it look easy." Thomas smiled, genuine, peaceful. "Thank you. Now I know someone's doing it right." 21 days later in Zurich, Muhammad Ali kept that promise. Every punch Blin landed, Ali could have slipped. Every awkward exchange, Ali could have dominated. Every moment of struggle, Ali deliberately chose. He transformed a tune-up fight into a testament of resilience, not for himself, not for his comeback, for Thomas, for a dying boy who needed to see someone fight his fight the real way. Dr. Heinrich Müller, the Swiss boxing commission doctor, examined Ali after round 6. Nothing physically wrong. His confidential report: fighter appears emotionally compromised, physical capabilities intact but deliberately restrained. Behavior consistent with intentional performance reduction for unknown reasons. Angelo Dundee later told a biographer, "That Zurich fight haunted me for 30 years. I knew Ali was holding back. I screamed at him. He just looked at me and said, 'I'm fighting the right fight, Angie. Trust me.' Like he was fighting a different fight than the one I could see." Ali won by technical knockout in round 7, but only after absorbing 6 rounds of unnecessary punishment. Only after showing 12,000 people what fighting through pain looked like. Only after fulfilling a sacred promise to a boy who would never see the footage. Thomas Abernathy died March 29, 1972, 15 days after the Zurich fight, surrounded by family. On his hospital television, a replay of Ali's victory played. Thomas had watched it 4 times in those final days. After Thomas passed, Eleanor discovered something under his pillow, a newspaper clipping about Ali's controversial victory. The German reporter wrote, "Ali showed unexpected vulnerability tonight, absorbing punishment like a man fighting through invisible pain." In the margin, in Thomas's shaking handwriting, 3 words circled repeatedly. He kept his promise. Eleanor never went public. Neither did Margaret. Neither did Ali. We only know because of a letter Eleanor wrote Ali in 1978, discovered in his archives after his 2016 death. She thanked him for the most meaningful gift, proof that fighting isn't about never getting hit. It's about taking hits and standing back up. Ali never responded in writing, but Eleanor's daughter revealed Ali called her mother late one night in 1981. He didn't say much, just, "I think about Thomas before every fight, every single one. I see his face. I remember what real fighting looks like." The Zurich fight has been largely forgotten, not in highlight reels, not in documentaries. It was technically a victory, but looked like struggle. And nobody wants to watch heroes struggle without knowing why. But 14 people knew. Thomas's family, hospital staff who witnessed the promise, Ali's inner circle he eventually told. They knew that on March 14, 1972, Muhammad Ali sacrificed the mystique he'd spent his career building, the illusion he was untouchable, to honor a promise that mattered more than glory. Because sometimes the greatest fights aren't the ones you dominate. They're the ones where you reveal your humanity. The fights you fight for someone who can't fight anymore. Muhammad Ali fought for Thomas Abernathy that night and proved something more powerful than any knockout. That true strength isn't measured by punishment you avoid, but by how much you're willing to endure for someone who needs to see you fight through it. The price? A confusing performance that damaged his comeback narrative. Questions about his conditioning, mental state, doubts from promoters. A fight that would never make his legacy real. But Ali paid it willingly, gladly, without hesitation, because some promises are worth more than perfection. Some moments of weakness reveal greater strength than dominance ever could. And some fights are won by showing your scars instead of hiding them.